Ram, this is the moment that you need to cut before I said the clap with the "this is the moment," and that's some notes for you to edit on.
But boom, let's go.
Okay.
All right.
Hi there, welcome to Derek. There's so many cameras. I don't know what to.
Yeah.
Hi,
This
welcome.
is like the BBC.
I'm gonna make.
I'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time. That's gonna be. What I want is every word that was said into a camera. I want that camera to be visible. Please, Ram. Please.
We're gonna have to do it like The
You're
Office,
best.
where we just like.
Yeah. Hi there, welcome to Director's Debrief, episode 37?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I don't know. You go off and do episodes in between.
Yeah,
I forget.
it's been a while.
Yeah, it's
Long
been a
time.
little while. Yeah.
Not given how these are going to come out, because we released Ollie's episode, then we're going to release mine and your episode, but that
That's
was
right.
filmed before Ollie's episode, so I haven't
Yeah.
seen you for a while.
Yeah, let's say a month. It's not been a month, but let's say a month.
Let's say a month, man. I haven't seen
Yeah,
you in
it's been a
ages.
while. But are you doing well? How's work?
Huh?
How's the wife and kids?
Yeah, what,
Yeah.
Whoa. You haven't
Is
missed
that how much has happened?
you haven't missed that much. I'm good, man. Work
Yeah.
is good. Work is. Do you know what's interesting? I know you want to talk about this, but work has kind of fallen into the background a little bit because I've had like other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I've kind of thought like maybe I'm not giving enough devotion to work. Maybe I'm falling behind, and it is just like an all mental thing. But it's been oddly restful. I feel quite well rested, and now the time I'm spending at work feels really, really productive, feels healthy, feels good. So in a weird way, like silver lining and all that, that's how work has been for me. I feel like I've been a bit distant. Now I'm back in the game, and I feel good.
Nice,
that's a
man.
summary. How you doing? How's
That's
your
really,
life?
really good. Yeah, life is good. Life is
wife,
well.
Kids.
Yeah,
Way
wife,
closer to
kids,
that,
doing it. I don't know about that. But yeah, it's going all right. Yeah, things are good. Work's an interesting thing. It seems to be a lot of variety.
Yeah.
I think if I was to summarize,
All right, to close the window.
I don't feel busier or so much. It's more just so much variety that I'll chop and change from something over here
Yeah.
to something in bloody Australia and then here, and it just keeps changing, and I do enjoy that. I mean, who am I to make that sound like a bad thing? You know,
Right.
There are people that would crave for that, and I'm grateful. So yeah, it's a really interesting time for what we're doing.
Yeah.
And going on. Yeah.
I came into this room. Sorry, no, I was in this room. You came in, and then you just dropped a question on me.
Earlier today.
Yeah, and I was like, God damn, what the hell?
Yeah.
Do you want to reveal what that question was?
Yeah, so I can't remember how I worded it, but it was essentially along the lines of, I asked Ram this earlier in the day as well, upstairs, but I said, Sam, how do you deal with stress? To which you came out with an instant answer.
Which was not very well.
Yeah. And it was very similar to what Ram said.
Yeah.
And then as you thought about it, you started to think a little bit more. And my question came from obviously some stress in my life, I guess. That's probably why it propped up in my mind.
Yeah.
But I felt that I was dealing with what was going on in a very fresh way to how I've dealt with things in the past.
Interesting.
And that was why I was evaluating and looking at how have I dealt with things differently. So I ask you that question because I'm interested what other people do.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we have our own stresses in life, we often think that it's just us and everyone else is living a smooth life. Like right now, say I'm stressing about something, I'm looking at Ram and he just seems like he's enjoying life and smiling away.
Yeah.
And the same for you. You seem like you're just getting on with your day and having it. And we forget to realize that everyone's got their own issues, right? Personal, work, relationship, whatever's going on, they've got their own stuff. So I was curious to see what other people do because everyone seems to get through the day.
Yeah.
What do other people get through it? So
Ram's COVIDed up to shit, and he's still cracking on with life.
cracking on.
Not wearing a mask, thanks for that.
Yeah, he's looking fresh now. Though.
Yeah, you're looking much better. You look like
Yeah.
you were dying earlier.
He's for the audience. He's tested negative.
Yeah.
Apparently. So,
Oh, did he?
Yeah, apparently.
Did he?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Apparently you're negative for COVID now? Oh, you told me this morning, yeah.
yeah. So we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah. So tell me some.
Yeah.
Think of your best moment of dealing with stress, not your worst.
Okay.
Think of some time where you're like, oh damn, I surprised myself a little bit. Oh, I got through that easier, better than I thought I would. Could be a micro stress, could be a big stress.
Yeah. It's got to be a big stress, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be a big stress. But I mean, It's hard because it's hard to judge because I don't think I deal with stress well at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I think on a surface level, I deal with stress really well.
Okay.
So I know how to hide stress well.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that really know me are going to go, no.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. You know me, you know what my signs are. But I think generally at work, I do my best to hide my stress. And there's going to be a lot of like, that's not healthy, that's not good. And those people are absolutely right. But I genuinely believe it's the optimal way to, especially when you get to a certain position in a company, it's the optimal way to be.
So do you hide the stress from other people or from yourself?
Both.
Okay.
I don't think I can hide it from other people if I'm not hiding it from myself.
Yeah.
I think I'm really good at like, just, not my problem, and crack on with it. And that's bad because it piles up at the end of the day. It literally, 4:59, clock hits 5.
Yep.
And it's just like, you didn't do this. You need to do it all. And then you're like, all right, I'll worry about that when I get home. I get home and I'm like, you didn't do this.
Yep.
What were the 5 other things? Shit.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually dealing with stress, I don't know. It's the times where I deal with it well. Maybe this is old fashioned, but it's where I like to think nobody else could see that I was dealing with it. And I came out of the other side stronger. Not just I hid it and I'm still suffering with it. I think that's bad. But yeah.
All right. So going to your work one, right?
Yeah.
And you said both, like hiding your stresses from the team and hiding them from yourself. Let's look at the team.
Go ahead.
Now, kind of, if you're really looking surface level, it's like you'd assume, just like a father would hide the stresses of the family away from the kids, right?
Yeah.
Working in a director role, you must make sure you shield the team away from the big stresses. Like, oh my God, this has gone really wrong, but I can't tell anyone that. Yeah. Let me fix it on my own, or let me deal with that stress. Let me shield them from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that works in theory, right?
Got to be careful there, though. Can't think I got to fix it on my own.
No.
You can fix it as a team.
Sure.
But you can hide the severity of the situation. There's loads of levers to pull.
Sure. So here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
People think that as a director, or I in logic, I would think I'm best suited to dealing with the stress compared to the rest of the team. But sometimes, and I'm listening to a book, as I listen on Audible, about from Ben Horowitz, who's a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, and he says actually, as a director, you're married to the company, right?
Yeah.
So when something goes wrong in the company, and you have stress going on, whilst you may think you could deal with that problem in the best way possible, dealing with the stress, you're actually in the worst position compared to the rest of the team. Because if another team member found out the severity, yes, they would take it very seriously, but they wouldn't let it haunt them at night. They wouldn't let it go through, because at the end of the day, they'll go home at 5. They'll come back to work at 9 a.m. So really, when you're dealing with stress, sometimes being able to distance yourself from the actual issue allows you to come up with a better solution, or a more appropriate solution. Whereas when you're so connected with the company that if I mess this up, or if this goes to pan, then everything messes up. You being so connected to the issue can actually cloud your judgment in some cases.
That's fair. Has that helped you?
Well, what it's helped me do is try to find distance when I'm going through a stress.
Okay.
So yes, sometimes with work, I am married to the company. It really affects me if something goes wrong. It does. But I've started to distance myself in a healthy way when that stress comes through. It doesn't always work, and it's not always possible. But if, for example, we've got a shipment that's going wrong at the moment, and I've had to get involved. Normally this would have been dealt with by the team, but I've been told because of the severity of the value and everything that's going on. And originally I was checking my emails every 5 minutes, just making sure, is there any new updates? Is anything going on? And I started to distance myself, saying, look, we have an issue every week of this sort. Like, this is not unusual. We've gone through around 50 of these before, and we'll go through another 100 in the future, right? And this is just going to keep coming. So what that allowed me to do is firstly have perspective, and then distance myself from it enough that I still care and I still want a solution, but enough that I don't dwell on the fact that it's causing me personal pain.
Yeah.
And allow me to think more laterally and more.
Sounds like a healthy level.
Yeah, it's a theory, but it's working.
It's work. So this because are you talking about the shipment today?
Yeah.
So this was today.
Yeah.
How do you feel now? Because the last time I saw you, it was like at the top of your to-do list.
Yeah.
I would imagine that's peak levels of stress.
Right, and I even came in, right? I walked upstairs. Yeah. You had something to talk to me about, and I was like, look, I can't.
Yeah.
Right? That was it. And that was peak level stress.
Peak level stress.
So then I evaluated why the hell am I feeling like that, and I realized I couldn't come up with a solution straight away.
Yeah.
Yes, I tried a few things.
Yeah, you called a couple people.
Yeah, I was like, look, we're going to calm. This has happened before. We'll figure out what happens as it goes along. Yeah. This has already happened. We'll deal with that. And that part of that came when I was driving just now.
Brilliant.
Through that, so it's real fresh. Yeah.
You find yourself ever deferring stress? Like, not to another person, but to you, to future you.
Okay, so for example, there's a job that needs to be done urgently, but I've deferred that till tomorrow. Yeah, of course. All the time.
No, are you still stressed in between?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Because I'm just trying to think. I was trying to think of the best ways I've dealt with stress, and they all have some way or another of deferring stress. Of I'll worry about this at a later date. I think I've gotten good at that. And what you're saying now isn't based around that, but you're essentially still doing that, right? You're distancing yourself away from the stress.
Yeah.
But at some point, you've pulled all the levers you can pull, and at some point, all of those people that you've communicated with are going to reply to you.
Yeah.
And that's when you're going to be dealing with the situation again.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what the situation was with that shipment in the end, but
yeah.
So you're going to have to go deal with that again.
Essentially, I'm hoping that things have changed by that time that I deal with it.
Okay.
So what's happened at the moment is there is actually nothing I can do in this moment, or nothing I can think of that I can do, right? Yeah. Sometimes people say there's always something you can do. So what I'm doing is I'm not deferring it to another day just because I'm tired.
No.
I'm doing that. Don't get me wrong, I do sometimes do that occasionally. But in this case, what I've realized is the number of tools in my arsenal at the moment that I can do to fix this compared to what can happen in a day or 2 days' time once that shipment reaches the recipient is far different. And that will allow me to go through at that time and figure out a better solution. And I'll be in a different mindset as well, where I'm less stressy and more solution based. Yeah.
Well, you touched on something interesting there. What do you think what are some of the reasons why you defer stress? Obviously, you've exhausted every opportunity. You're tired. Have you ever found yourself deferring stress or deferring a task that is very stressful to a certain point where you start questioning yourself, why am I not doing this? And come to the conclusion it's because you're worried you're not capable enough? It's a big question, I know.
So have I deferred tasks because I don't think I'm capable of completing that task?
No. You don't do the task for whatever reason it might be. And you realize it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or maybe it's a hard conversation, maybe it's whatever the task is. You've not done it for a week. You've not done it for 2 weeks. And then by the third week, you're like, why have I still not done this? There are certain parts of this that excite me. There's certain parts of this that I want, but I still haven't done it. And you wonder why. And you come to the conclusion that you realize you're like, maybe I'm not doing it because I'm scared I'm not competent enough. I heard this on a podcast that it made me think back to some tasks that...
Okay, so I'm going to be... It's going to sound arrogant, but you'll see when I finish this. I've never felt like that.
Okay.
Or I don't think I felt like that.
That's not
the reason for that is because I very quickly acknowledge that there are a lot of things that I'm not specialist in, and isn't something in my domain. I'll probably give it a half-hearted go, but it's not something I specialize in. And maybe this is part of the business owner mentality or whatever, but I quickly outsource or give a task to someone who I know would be better suited. In some cases, and that's it. So what I keep on my to-do list are things that I genuinely know I will do. Why they're still on my to-do list is sometimes procrastination, sometimes more effort than I'm willing to allocate at that moment in time, but very little to do with competency, because if there isn't, we will bring someone in who can do that task. Like there's always someone who can do that.
Sorry, this was less about work, but that's fine. Fine.
So personal.
Yeah.
So give me an example.
I'll give you the perfect example, and I really hope my mum and dad don't watch this. I really hope they don't. But they asked me to set up British citizenship for them.
Yeah.
They've been in the UK for a very long time. They're more than eligible. They're Swedish citizens. They were Swedish citizens, and they asked me to set that up for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 40-page form that you have to fill out. You have to get references. You have to understand your parents' like complete lineage and history. You have to understand your parents' date of birth. Sorry, not your. I'd like to think I know that, but your grandparents' date of birth on both sides of the family.
Okay.
Not only that, my grandparents from my dad's side were born in Iraq, where record keeping was kind of loose, so they don't really have a date of birth. They have like
a date.
Maybe they're a Leo. Who knows?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very loose documentation. In terms of names, it gets complicated because in the Middle East, your surname is traditionally of dad's first name, and it's all like I'm an exception. We have a family name. There's all of these different variables. And I was just like, I'd get home from work and I'm like, I'm tired. So I'm not going to do it. I'm tired. I'm not going to do it. This went on for a good couple of weeks. My dad called, this is why I don't want him to say it. He calls me, he's like, have you started on it? I'm like, yeah, it's a long form. I'm working on it. And it was good, maybe 2 months. And then I started it. And it was easy as shit to do.
Yeah.
Like it was exhausting. It required a lot of things from different places. But it was easy to do. It was very simple. And I realized the whole time I'd been putting it off is because I was worried that I couldn't do it. Like it's
okay. So that's not, is that competency, or is that the fact you may not have all the information you need to do it?
No, because it's here's the thing. Here's what was going through my mind. It's £1,500 on the line for both parents, for each parent. So that's $3,000 on the line. There was the possibility that I might. When I started looking into it, there's services that you can pay. Again, this is me getting in my own head. There's services that you can pay £300-400 in for people to fill in the form.
Sure.
And I was like, well, if you're paying £400 for someone to fill in a form for you, surely it's a difficult form. Surely you can't make a single typo. Surely you can't make a single mistake. And it's really hard because they verify the information so much.
Yeah.
When you submit it, you have to put all of this data in. When you go and get the passports, you have to fill in the data again for them to cross-check it. And so I was like, well, what if I what if I put my granddad's date of birth as this? And like I said, it's all loose figures.
Yeah.
Put it as there, as that, and then there is something else. And they're like, nope, denied. We're keeping your £1,500. You don't get a passport.
Right.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just all these variables that got to my head. But in the moment, it was just, I'm tired. Or in the moment, it was, I'll do that later.
But you realise the underlying reason was something else.
Way later down the line.
Yeah.
Way later. That's my example.
Really interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I've been trying to apply that to other things in my life that I've procrastinated on, and things that I haven't gotten set up on. You know, we've talked a lot about me doing more in Leicester to hope, just go out, do more, put myself out there and try new things. Yeah. And I'm wondering if that can be applied there. I don't know, but that's my
It's interesting. So much so that your example is making me want to take back my arrogant answer, because
I don't think it was arrogant, because I said competence. I think it's something you realize later down the line.
Yeah.
Is anything?
I think my biggest issue is I'll go for a task and then I'll see a few roadblocks. Yeah. Like immediately obvious roadblocks, like you say, I don't have my grandparents' date of births or things like whatever it is that you're just like, bam, I can't complete that. And I'll use that as an excuse, those little roadblocks, to not complete any of the task.
Right.
When in fact, okay, sometimes they're not forms, when in fact there is a lot of work that I could do around it and just wait to plug in that information when I have it. It shouldn't stop me from doing it. So yes.
That's funny you say that, because I'd argue you're one of the reasons, you're one of quite a few reasons, but you're definitely up there. We've got other cameras. One of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing that.
Oh, right.
It's because I remember when I was working at Indian Mart and I kept coming to you with these wild ideas, and yours and Molly's mentality behind it was rarely no. It was, here are the issues, how are we going to overcome them? And if I had a solution for overcoming them, we were happy to go with it.
Yeah.
So that kind of got me thinking about other certain things.
Yeah.
For loads and loads of different things where I kind of now have Jamie and I like saying this back and forth quite a lot, lick the stamp and send it mentality. Just do it. First roadblock you come, deal with that. Yeah. Keep going. That's actually something I accredit you with, but I would definitely attribute very strongly to Molly.
She's very much so, and I think I'm hoping I've got some of that from her. But again, we all have our moments, right? When I've got plenty of them where I have my to-do list, bam, roadblock. I'll move on to the rest. Yeah. On the same token, going back to why I like to delay stress, or I'd like to delay a task to do that, it all goes back to compartmentalization. That when I'm dealing with my next task, if I'm still stressing about whatever happened with that shipment that we were just talking about, then that's going to fog anything to do with something else. I mean, we were in a PR meeting this morning. Like if I'm thinking about a shipment when I'm in a PR meeting that have nothing to do with each other, what's that going to do to kind of my edge in that meeting and so on. So these are the things that we need to think about, that you're not delaying it just for you. You're delaying it for the fact you don't want to fog your mentality and your mind on that.
I think we've kind of wrapped into what I would argue. This is why I was asking about deferred stress as well. When you came in, it was all sort of fun and jokes when you asked me about how I deal with stress. I think I said poorly, not well. I bottle it up and put it away. But interestingly, when I think back now, when I said I bottle up stress and put it away and wait for it to explode, it's kind of true. But I don't think I wait for it to explode. I defer stress. So I have... my dad calls like, hey, can you set this up for me whilst I'm at work? And all of this is kind of going on. Yeah. I'll kind of just go, okay, got it. Close the phone, make a note, and then defer that stress for a later date. I've just realized I actually do need to do something.
Yeah, right. Write it down.
Yeah, I've deferred that a little bit too long.
Yeah, write it down.
Thanks, man. I need
That's what I do.
Cool.
No, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah. But I defer stress so I can crack on with the thing, kind of like what you're saying. Crack on with the thing at present. Maybe it's a very one-track mind. Yeah. And then the next thing comes up and the next thing comes up. And I'd actually argue it's not a bad way to deal with stress. There's only a few instances where I can think of that kind of just go, oh my God, I should have dealt with that a long time ago and I can't believe I've dealt with this. Yeah. Because how many times have you slacked me about something like, hey, just this morning, you slacked me at going, hey, did you get back to this person about that? And I went, I did not. No, I had a valid reason there. But we have this interaction quite a lot. And every now and again that pops up and I'm able to jump on and deal with it then. But that's my way of dealing with stress. Other things have popped up that I've worked on, and then what you told me, then I jump back on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, no, that was a valid reason there. But it's like sometimes we just need to remind ourselves, remind each other as well.
I don't always have a valid reason.
No, that's perfect. So something else when it comes to stress, and I believe we've spoken about this, but we're on episode 37, so a while ago. It's refreshed, right? Comes back to the idea of micro stresses. Okay. Now, this has been playing on mind a lot.
Fascinated by this recently as well.
Yeah, so it's something, don't get me wrong, my knowledge on it is very limited, so there's plenty of articles out there about this. But the idea that little micro stresses continuously lead and they multiply and they essentially magnify another stress, so a normal stress in your day. So say you've got to submit your dad's papers, right? All your little micro stresses through the day that you were late, your shoes got wet, or you got your soggy socks or whatever, you forgot your fuel in the morning. Oh my God, that's mega stress.
Terrible.
Yeah, all these little stresses that go on in the morning suddenly magnify the stress that you may have in the afternoon, which you would have normally dealt with okay, but suddenly all that tension's going on in your mind. And that's something I'm trying to work on, of pushing back those micro stresses where possible, because at the end of the day, they are micro. They're nothing to worry about. My soggy socks, I'll deal with it. By the way, I have got them. The rain was terrible. Yeah, but I was just like, it's all right. Like, it is what it is. At the end of the day, like, it's raining. Come on, we needed the rain. And don't get me wrong, there's such a guru mindset, but I'm really trying to work on it, because then and only then can I actually be a bit happier and handle normal daily stresses properly.
It's very interesting. So you're the one who got me on micro stress. No, you're not you don't cause me micro stress. But you sent me a video or an article or something about micro stresses. Yeah. Somebody counting the amount of micro stresses you go through before you leave the door. Yep. And that actually made me turn off my alarm. Yeah. My morning alarm. I stopped using my morning alarm. Yeah. I didn't realize how susceptible to those.
I've stopped checking my emails so early in the morning.
Have you?
Yeah. So
I've been off that for a while.
Yeah. So I will check them, don't get me wrong, when I actually officially wake up. But sometimes what would happen is I'd wake up maybe a little bit earlier, half an hour, 40 minutes earlier than I'll set to, and just lie in bed. And I sometimes bring my phone in and start going through my emails earlier, thinking I could get ahead of my day and ahead of my schedule. When in fact, all that did is kind of extend the number of stresses I had in my day, because suddenly by the time I officially woke up at my set time, I'd already had like 5 more stresses than I should have in that mentality.
And it's funny because it doesn't work, does it? You never get ahead. No matter how much work you do before work, you don't actually get ahead. And I don't understand how that works. Is time warped?
Yeah.
Because I've gotten to that. I've gotten to a stage where I was waking up every day early in the morning, shower, have breakfast in front of my computer, and just check on the odd thing that I would have checked on when I first got to the office. Every time I'd come to the office and like I'd leave, I'd feel no more productive.
Yeah.
I don't think I did anything more.
Yeah. It kind of ties back to something that we've been working on at the moment, right? We had a conversation yesterday of how can we get rid of the heavy task, or the tasks that you do repetitively, because it's something I'm working on myself, where look, there is a difference between being busy and productive. Everyone knows this, but sometimes we really do forget about it in our own lives. And I feel that at WP, certainly, we do forget that, because we are go like on days. I've seen you're non-stop. But then if you really take a look at those tasks, it's not that they're not important. It's the fact that, hold on a second, how many key decisions did you make during the day? Maybe just one. Maybe you should have focused more attention on that one and brought those other tasks to other people where possible. Yeah.
Busy, not productive. That's insane. You've contextualized so much there. Because I think in the past few weeks, I've been incredibly busy. Very busy. But I don't think I've been that productive.
Yeah.
Like I haven't made anything. I haven't seen the fruits of anything. Yeah. I've kind of just done stuff.
And sorry, I say this to you because I haven't noticed it in you. Only you know what your tasks are. Yeah. But I've noticed it in myself considerably. Where I was sitting down one day saying, why am I absolutely shattered at the end of the day? Don't get me wrong, even if when you're less busy, you're still shattered because you're making really big decisions. But I was knackered, and I just felt like I had barely done anything during the day or the weeks. And that happens. I mean, we've had changeover of kind of the structures of the teams and so on. Things change. That's natural. We've had new team members join. We have to teach them things that aren't there. But on the same token, at least being aware, we're heading in the right direction in that respect. So I don't know what time's like, but I had a few tweets that I wanted to go through that were really interesting. So do we have a bit of time?
We got like 9 minutes before.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll be
go
wrapped
home
up.
And die of COVID in peace. Man, I'm sweaty.
Okay, cool. So there was a Twitter. I've spoken about him before, called Sahil Bloom. Really big. Okay. He's big on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Are you on Twitter, Ram? You need to go on Twitter. Delete all your social medias.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah. Sam is on Twitter. He just won't tell me he's on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, that's to be fair. I have actually started using it a little bit.
Okay, so Sahil, great guy. I've followed him since he had very few followers.
Friends since high school.
Yeah, I'd like to. He's a good lad. But now he's got well over 680,000, so he's doing all right.
Is that impressive on Twitter? Sorry, I know.
Yeah, it's harder to get followers on Twitter because you actually have to give them good content, not just post half-naked photos. Yeah, so it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's
Debrief cancel. No, okay, go on.
But it's genuinely true. You have to provide good content, even if that's about.
So you're saying if I post nudes on Twitter, I won't get any followers? Don't laugh, Ram.
On Twitter,
my nudes are valuable. Yeah, not to you.
No. Okay, so that's possible. Yeah, but you just may not get as many as you would on Instagram.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I'll post them.
Yeah, so 680 on Instagram. Sam's setting up an OnlyFans. But anyway, okay, so Sahil Bloom. So then Elizabeth replied, I believe this is his wife. But anyway, he goes, what is the single most impactful piece of advice you've ever received? We all have that piece, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time to come. So if you have one, keep it in your mind. So Elizabeth replies, walk like you have 3,000 ancestors behind you. That's interesting, right?
That's heavy.
What does that make you feel? That makes you feel less... it makes you feel important.
Listen, which ancestors?
The ones that worked hard.
Okay, yeah, see, you had to clarify.
There are plenty there.
Because if I'm looking back and I see like Hitler, I'm like, I'm better than that guy.
Yeah, I somehow think he didn't come on your tree though, so you're okay.
Yeah, to be fair. But if I'm looking back,
Genghis Khan, maybe he was somewhere there.
Yeah, but if I'm looking back and I'm like, that's Henry Ford, we're talking a lot about Henry Ford. I'm like, what have I contributed to society? But if I'm looking back, and again, it's...
I mean, you think every single ancestor before you has got you to where you are.
Yeah.
Like, good or bad, whatever they've done, they got you there. So basically, you've got everyone behind you.
Yeah.
And everything's riding on you to take it forward.
Yeah,
anyway,
so no pressure.
Yeah. So then Anku Wariko, he wrote a book called Do Epic Shit. And he's really good. I like him. So he wrote a few things. He goes, I've got 3 quotes here. If I can't trust you, it doesn't matter how smart you are. His first manager. Interesting one. Second one was from his first investor. He said, you can't solve the problem by being part of the problem. Okay. Take that in. These are just interesting things that take some time. And finally, his third quote is from his mum or mom. And he said, whatever happens, don't ever forget where you've come from. Again, you can see the surface level thing.
You got to let that marinate.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't ever forget where you've come from.
Yeah.
How far you've come. That's interesting. Okay, and I'll pick a couple more. There's one from not Jerome Powell. So for those that know, Jerome Powell is the Fed chair. And this is just a parody account.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
And he goes, marry into a rich family.
Like it's solid bit of advice.
And it got the most likes.
Yeah.
And finally, one of my favorites and goes really well with what we were just talking about. You can be busy and still not be rich. It's really interesting. Yeah, and something I think everyone thinks. And whilst everyone can say the goal is not to get rich, sometimes we get really angry at ourselves saying, we're working so hard, why are the results not coming? And it's sometimes we've got to take a look at something like that. And it starts to make some...
yes, something similar to that I heard on another podcast. Don't confuse movement with progress. Very along similar lines, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's let's wrap it up on that. What's some great, was it quote or advice?
Yeah, what's the single most impactful piece of advice you've ever been given?
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you
think
got?
of mine. I should have prepared that, right? I should have stolen one of them, but it'll come to me in a moment.
I mean, one that I have, and I think I need some new advice. So if any of you guys have some wisdom to impart on me, great.
Comment.
Yeah, comment. That I meant YouTube, lads. But the one thing that kind of I've referred to back quite a lot is I remember results day. Actually, a lot of people are going through a results day at the moment. A-level results day. I didn't get the results I wanted. I went through like a very interesting next few hours that kind of decided the path that my life took, and both my sister and my brother were really there for me in that moment, and they really helped me like put my plan together. And the one thing, again, I don't want to despair any credit from either one of them, but so my brother just said something in passing, and it keeps coming up in everyday life for me. And it's in a joking way. He goes, at the end of the day ends. That's it. Nothing. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think Jimmy Carr said something similar on a podcast of life is just a passage of time. Enjoy it. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Stop worrying so much about X, Y, or Z. It's when you turn a certain age, you'll die, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. Try and do good. Try and make a nice impact. And again, Ryan Holiday says, like, do something great. Do it with kindness. It's like a passage from a book. So whatever, man.
It's the best piece of advice. People will say, "Oh, it's mundane." It doesn't say, you've got to take life seriously and so on. It's like, no. Sometimes by taking life too seriously, you actually enjoy it less, and you make less impact, more progress, or whatever it is. So, yeah, I love that. I think that's brilliant. I can't outdo that today. So
no, okay,
yeah, thank you, Ram. You got anything to say? No impactful advice.
Hold on, yeah. What's the best bit of advice you've gotten?
I don't really get advice.
You don't really get advice. Okay.
I think it'll come to you. It'll come to you after. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Good to know, my management has had zero impact on you in the last year. All right, cool.
All right, perfect.
I'm just messing.
Right, they write the list of some quotes coming. Yeah. But,
please don't you dare write.
The good ones.
Don't write down shit I've said to you.
Perfect. But yeah, we're wrapping up.
Yeah,
that was interesting. That was an interesting conversation. Really good and really impactful. So if you enjoyed that, please don't hesitate to give us an email, comment, do whatever you got to do to let us know what you want to hear next.
Rate us on Spotify. I found out if we get 10 ratings on Spotify, it actually shows a little star next to us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so please
are we
rate
on
us.
Are we on Apple Music as well?
Yeah.
So
when Ram remembers to upload,
leave us a rating on Apple Music as well, or Apple Podcast, sorry, and wherever you are. But yeah, it was a pleasure joining you on episode 37.
Likewise, good
and
likewise.
We'll see you next time. Hopefully not a month away. Take it easy.